Now is the time for the coalition to get serious and dump net zero by 2050. Pull out of Paris, set the standard, get us off this magical carpet ride fantasy. Because Labor is out there peddling an uncosted 2035 emissions reduction target with absolutely no clue what it means for your power bills and how much it will cost you. And this really sums up where its energy plan is at.
There's no particular advice that flows from that about...
Ooh.
Okay. There we go. Thank you. I'll be on alert. Someone's got to jump in and hold it. There we go. Someone's holding it. Very good.
Well, there it is. The energy plan is quite literally falling over. And this fumbling exchange by the minister in charge is all the proof you need about the con we are on and how quickly we need to pull the pin.
Do you have an estimate, a projection for when the prices will get cheaper over the decade?
I'd point you to the modelling, the AEMC modelling yesterday. That's not a political promise. It's a statement of modelling by expert agencies.
So is there an idea of when we won't need subsidies, when that money doesn't need to be
we've already
used,
made decisions about subsidies and their levels at different points, and that work will continue.
So the minister doesn't know. How about the Prime Minister? Does he know what's going on?
There's modelling is out there. The modelling that you've quoted is modelling which is there.
Can you guarantee that you will get the policy settings right moving forward, that prices will 100% fall for Australians? They're struggling with their bills.
Well, I can guarantee that the cheapest form of new energy is renewables. The cheapest form of new energy is renewables. The modelling is there. It's not government modelling, it's modelling that's been done by the energy market operator.
So let me get this straight. We have been warned time and time again by experts and AEMO that we will not breach our emissions reduction targets as it is via an experiment of transmission lines, giant wind turbines, green hydrogen, solar farms and batteries. Labor has been told it cannot even get to 43% by 2030, yet has had some sort of bizarre come to Jesus moment and thought to increase it to 62 to 70% by 2035. Make that make sense. Now, this is an economic and environmental disaster. The energy sector has become reliant on subsidies, taxpayer-funded, of course. And what happens when those subsidies end? The costs go up. It's so diabolical, Labor's former climate advisor, Ross Garnaut, recently warned that supersizing subsidies for solar and wind projects won't get us to 2030 targets and risks blowing a hole in the country's budget just to, quote, buy failure. Yet, Labor comes out yesterday with an uncosted plan and Chris Bowen can't even put a figure on what it means for your energy bills.
When do you expect energy prices will be cheaper under this plan?
Well, again, you'll have a default market offer out in a few months. That will reflect how the market's going. What we'll see is continued impact. As I said, 60,000 people have reduced their bills by up to 90%. That's just in, since the 1st of July.
Do you expect we'll always need to have subsidies in order to have cheaper
I think
prices?
I've answered that question.
And the best Bowen can do is point to the modelling. Well, gee, remember the last time Labor told us about what the modelling said?
Reducing power prices by $275.
Reducing power prices by $275.
By 2025, $275 a year.
$275 a year.
And yet fast forward to after this year's election, that modelling that told us our bills would be $275 cheaper was suddenly irrelevant.
It's Reputex's modelling. It's Reputex's modelling.
You took ownership of that modelling.
It's Reputex's modelling from that time. It's Reputex's modelling based upon the circumstances at that time.
Yeah, it's all been a con, hasn't it? Yet we are bending over backwards financially and environmentally, despite emitting 1% of global emissions. Why are we the ones doing the heavy lifting to save the world from the alleged climate change doomsday Armageddon? And for what? It's not going to stop the rain, it's not going to stop the sun, and it's certainly not going to do anything for our bills. Yet we are spending like crazy to get there.
$2 billion for the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, a new net zero $5 billion fund, $1.1 billion to encourage more production of clean fuels in Australia, $40 million to accelerate the rollout of curbside and fast EV charging.
$50 million to support Australia's sporting clubs, reduce their bills and emissions at the same time. $2 billion, $5 billion fund, $1.1 billion, $40 million.
And blimey, it's like a game of The Price is Right. According to the IPA's analysis of budget documents, spending on climate change and net zero in the most recent federal budget reached around $9 billion annually, up from around $600 million a decade earlier, an unbelievable 15-fold increase. A Business Council of Australia report found cutting emissions by 70% or more would carry a price tag of up to $530 billion. Yet, Chris Bowen is still lying to you.
What will the total cost of net zero be by 2050, Prime Minister?
Well, it depends what figures you look for. If you look for investment for 2035, the Business Council of Australia saying that the cost will be around about $400 to $500 billion. If you ask for what our policy is, yesterday we announced an additional $8.3 billion of investment, meaning our total investment is $75 billion.
Can you name a figure?
Yeah, $600 billion was the cost of Peter Dutton's plan. Yesterday we announced an $8.5 billion investment. That takes total government expenditure to around $75 billion.
What will be the total cost of net zero by 2050?
In terms of the budget, that's more than $75 billion that we've outlined. The total cost of not achieving net zero, as is outlined in the National Risk Assessment, is many times more than that. We've got a bit of noise coming in. I think that's a good wrap. Thanks, guys.
Noise coming in. That's it. Bye. Off he goes. Press conference over. He's done. He's had enough for the day. Doesn't want to answer questions. Not serious at all. And look, the reality is Labor is doubling down on climate targets while we are shutting down coal plants with no plan B for energy generation to keep the lights on in this country. And the cost will inevitably, as we've been warned, be passed on to us as consumers on top of every other cost under this government. The Coalition and Susan Lee now have a real opportunity to set the standard and put Australia's energy future first. Here was Susan Lee today.
We don't believe in setting targets at all from opposition or from government, because the reality is that energy policy is not about a target that is never going to be reached.
Now, within minutes of that press conference ending, her office released a clarification saying, "We don't support setting targets in opposition. We do recognise the importance of targets in government when we have the full information in front of us." But look, I think she should have just stuck to what she actually said in that press conference. The fantasy targets are never going to be reached. And that is coming from experts across this country. We need energy that is cheap and reliable, and not one based on a lie. I mean, it's no coincidence countries around the world are dumping net zero. So if you want to give voters a choice at the ballot box, get rid of it. The majority of Liberal or National parties across the country have now voted to abandon net zero. And bear in mind, these branches have done this by themselves. They've said enough is enough. Staying in Paris is holding the country back. And if you want to differentiate from Labor, do it today. Start campaigning today against net zero. Make a difference. Build a platform. And gee, get us off this costly fantasy as soon as possible.